Welcome to my madness once again, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at these Mattel DC Multiverse Dark Knight Returns Batman and Superman. I picked these up at a flea market. We'll go over price, what I paid for them, and what you can expect to pay for them if you're looking to pick these guys up towards the end of the video. But this is going to be kind of a retro review, since these are several years old now. Not true retro. These aren't vintage figures or anything like that. But they're no longer at retail, so secondary market is where you're picking these guys up. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of the DC Multiverse line, I prefer DC Universe Classics, which preceded this. I do like these two figures and definitely wanted to get them in my collection. So, without further ado, let's crack these two guys open and see what we've got inside. Alright, so here we have them out of the package, and real quick, they do come with a couple little accessories, nothing crazy. With Batman, you do get a little batarang there, and with Superman, you do get a kryptonite arrow, and that's pretty much it. And then we've got the figures themselves. And we'll take a look at Batman first here, and he looks great. Very Frank Miller-esque. Just as far as, you know, the source material there, where this guy comes from, and, you know, all that stuff. And he looks fantastic and big and bulky, kind of short and squat. Honestly, they both do. And I think that works really, really well. Yeah, look at that, man. Cape looks great. Head sculpt looks really, really good. Got the belt there painted nice. Got the nice boots that kind of come away. They're not just molded and sculpted into the lower leg. Kind of come up and away. Everything looks good. Good clean logo there on the chest. Looks amazing. It's just a good, pure looking figure that just looks great. I really, really like it quite a bit. As far as articulation, I mean, there were some changes when they went to, you know, DC Multiverse from the DCUC, but you still have the basic same thing. So you've got single jointed elbows, single jointed knees, just a back and forth rocker on the feet there. You do get the standard hips, and then you get rotation up there inside the hip instead of down here on a thigh cut. You do have the bicep swivels, ball joint, shoulders, all that kind of stuff. Rotation there at the wrist. Head is on a ball joint, so you get some little bit of movement there like that. And then of course you've got the typical ab crunch there, right? So pretty standard stuff for, you know, at the time. For anything coming out from DC, but looks really, really nice, really, really good. I really dig that, and I like that they went to kind of this, you know, upper joint there, because it's actually a lot better than what we're getting with modern McFarlane, to be honest. I mean, look how far that rotates, and it does essentially the same thing modern McFarlane does without that, you know, thigh cut like Marvel Legends has, but you've got a lot more movement here on these figures than you do with McFarlane stuff. We've even got some shading here and the muscle tones there on the arms and things. And it looks really, really good. I think they did a fantastic job with this guy here. Then we'll take a look at Superman, and he's equally as good looking. You know, I mean, all the same basic articulation with the single jointed knees and elbows, but the bicep cuts and the upper thigh swivel and ab crunch, all that stuff. But he's just got a great look. Really, really good, solid look. I mean, boots look great. Paintwork is done well. Logo on the chest is nice and crisp. Cape looks great. It's not too stylized, which is something I absolutely hate. So we got a little bit of detail there in the cape, but overall just kind of hangs perfectly, just kind of like this one does here. Little bit of stylized there, but not much. It's just basic. It's simple. It works. I think both these figures look fantastic. Really, really dig them. I mean, look at that. Look at these guys. This is just a fantastic looking figure. Whether you were into, you know, Dark Knight Returns or not, as far as that comic goes, like if you're a fan of DC Comics, if you're a fan of DC action figures, these two figures right here look absolutely phenomenal, you know? They really, really do. Look at that. We got the nice big curl there on Superman's head, right? Looks great. That head sculpt is good. Really, really good there. I dig it quite a bit. Okay, so, yeah, let's go ahead. We're going to get some other figures out here, see how these two dudes stack up. All right, so we got a nice assortment here of figures. Of course, up front, we got a couple of DC figures. On the right, we've got the Mattel DC Multiverse armored Batman from Dark Knight Returns. On the right, we've got my favorite DCUC Superman. Of course, this is red heat vision eyes Superman. As you can see, there's a big difference between these two Superman right here. And that mostly just goes down to, in Dark Knight Returns, these characters were drawn really, really big and bulky compared to, in the comics, how a traditional Superman was usually drawn. And then, of course, what's cool about these two, since these are from the same line, this really does look like this guy in the suit. So I dig that quite a bit. Then at the back, we've got, in the middle here, we got Moon Knight, which is standard 6.5-inch scale. He's roughly the same size as the rest of these guys here. But then on the left, we've got a Toy Biz Cyber Spider-Man or Robot Spider-Man or whatever he was called. I don't remember. And then on the left, we've got SH Figuarts Captain America. Now, those are true 6-inch scale figures, and you can see how much shorter they are than all these, DC Multiverse or DCUC figures here. So we're dropping down quite a bit, but they are roughly Marvel Legends-esque size. All right, so I don't have the McFarlane version of this Batman here from Dark Knight Returns, but I do have their version of Superman, and obviously there's a huge scale difference here. We've got 6.5-inch versus 7-inch scaled figures, and these are both good in their own right. McFarlane went with this face sculpt that's not in the Dark Knight the whole time. It's like that kind of ugly face sculpt that Superman has a couple of times in the comic that, kind of show off, once you're like, yeah, he's kind of the bad guy. In that comic book, and I mean, it works for that. But one thing I notice about this is he's not, just proportionately, he's not as big and bulky as this guy is here. This guy's upper body is relatively small compared to how big his arms and legs are. This guy's much more proportional between his legs, arms, and upper body. I think in general, this is the better looking figure. There's a lot of good here. I do like this figure. I still have it. I think this is definitely a better representation of that character. So, this is just to give you kind of a difference between what you're looking at here with McFarlane versus, Mattel's DC Multiverse stuff. There are quite a few differences. Both are good figures, but I do think, in this case, I think the Mattel is the better figure. All right, so of course we got to talk price here, and of course these are no longer manufactured anymore, so we're talking about secondary market prices, eBay, things like that. I actually picked these up at a local flea market. I got them for 20 bucks a piece, and I would say that's about a good medium range for what you're going to pay, because I've seen these as low as 15 a piece and as high as 25 a piece. I occasionally see them higher than that, but I certainly wouldn't pay more than 25 bucks for these, and that's only if they're new in package like what I got, because otherwise on the used market, as far as getting them loose, you can get them for as low as 15 bucks a piece. So great figures. I love them. They're definitely worth in that, $15 to $25 price range. What I paid for them right there in the middle, 20 bucks a piece, I think is a great price. Was very happy to pick them up for that price. And I think they are more than worth it. These are really, really good figures. If you're into McFarlane stuff and so you're sticking with that 7-inch scale thing, then obviously this is probably an easy pass, right? No question about that. This is not going to fit in with a McFarlane collection. But if you like 6-inch scale or 6.5-inch scale, whatever the case may be, these are fantastic and definitely preferable over what McFarlane is putting out now. Even with the single jointed knees and elbows, these are still better figures. They're better sculpted, in my opinion. They are better painted. They're just better all around as far as I'm concerned. So there you go. But would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of these figures. Do you have these figures? If so, do you like them? And how do they compare to you? And in general, how does this DC Multiverse line compare to McFarlane or to what preceded it with DCUC? Where do you think this McFarlane, or excuse me, this Mattel Multiverse line fits in? I think it is, for the most part, pretty even as far as I'm concerned with McFarlane, as far as the amount of figures they have that are good versus the amount of figures they have that are bad. I don't think it's as good as DCUC. I think DCUC was the superior line, but there's still some really good figures in DC Multiverse from Mattel. So I think there's still definitely gems like these that you can pick up, honestly, really cheap. Okay, these figures are not worth a lot of money, yet they're fantastic figures that I'd highly recommend picking up to put into your DC collection. So anyway, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about that. Thank you guys for watching, and always remember to enjoy your collection.